So I have another Diwali sweet for y'all. I'm doing Gulab Jamun for y'all today. And Gulab Jamun in the US is actually called Rasgoola. To us. To us it's called Rasgoola. So if you're confused, Gulab Jamun is actually Rasgoola. In Trinidad we call it Rasgoola. But in Trinidad we call Gulab Jamun the big kurma, which is what I'm going to be doing today. It's like the fat version of kurma, but it's a little softer and it's obviously a lot bigger. So if you guys want to see how I do this Gulab Jamun recipe, then keep watching. So to start off, we're going to need 1.5 cups of flour. You're also going to need 1 cup of full cream milk powder, and this is Klim. There are also brands like Anchor and Dairy and a lot of different brands. Just once it's full cream milk powder. I'm also going to use some sweetened condensed milk, about 1.5 tablespoons. I have about 1.5 tablespoons of Crisco. I'm using this because I have no ghee at the moment, but typically you would use ghee for this. So if you have ghee, use 1.5 tablespoons of that. You can also substitute it for butter. And well, I'm using Crisco for this. Or you can use cookeen or shortening. I have some cardamom powder. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon for the dough and 1 teaspoon for the syrup. I'm also going to use some evaporated milk, and this is just to make a nice dough. So it depends on where you live and the humidity. That'll determine how much of this you would need. So just have a can on hand and just pour until you reach a nice smooth dough. I also have 1.5 cups of granulated sugar here. This is to make the syrup. I have 1 teaspoon of grated ginger. If ginger is not your thing, then you can totally omit this step. And if you do use ginger, it gives a really strong flavor. So if you have guests who probably don't like the strong ginger taste, then try to use just a little bit. Usually if it's for me, I would use about 1.5 tablespoons, but I'm doing this for friends, so I'm just doing 1 teaspoon. And lastly, I have 1 cup of water here, and this is just to make the syrup with. So we'll use that last. Now I'm going to show you how to knead the dough. So I'm going to mix the milk and the flour together. I'm also going to add in the cardamom powder or the lychee powder, 1 teaspoon. So just mix all your dry ingredients and just combine everything really well. Now what I'm gonna do is just add the Crisco in there. And this is just to give it like a nice flaky texture. So you just want to crumble it. It's gonna look like peas. So you also want to add your condensed milk now. So like I said, 1.5 tablespoons. I'm just eyeing the measurement because I make this quite often, so I'm used to the amounts. So just crumble that in there as well. See how it's starting to look like peas, kinda? It's grainy. And that's exactly what you want. So now that everything's really combined well, I'm gonna start adding my milk. And you would just want to add a little at a time and knead the dough until it comes together into one ball and it's really nice and soft. Not too dry and not too sticky. Knead it together like this. It's a nice soft dough. So what I'm gonna do, because this has milk powder in it, I just want to leave this to sit and let it absorb the liquids. And if it's too dry, after about 20 minutes, we'll add a little more of the evaporated milk. So I'm just going to leave this to sit for about 20 minutes and we'll come back and check it out. And cover this with a nice damp paper towel or cloth or something, just so that it doesn't dry out too much. So I'll come back and check you guys after 20 minutes. So it's been 20 minutes now and I'm just gonna check out the dough. And it looks like it's still nice and soft. And so what I'm gonna do is just take a little bit of oil. You can use ghee as well. I'm just taking some canola oil in my hand. You just want to rub it up in both your palms. And just take a little piece of dough. You can do it as big or as small as you like. This is about the size I'm gonna do it. So we're just gonna roll it into like ovals. And as you're rolling, you want to make sure that there's no cracks in the dough, because if there's cracks, it's gonna open up when it hits the oil. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have 2 cups of oil heating up at the moment, and you want to heat it on medium to low heat, because we're gonna fry these for about 10 minutes. We don't want it to get too dark. We just want it to have a nice golden brown color. So I'm gonna finish these off. And I'll show you how it looks when it's done. So as you can see, I rolled them all out, and you, as I said before, make sure there are no cracks in these. So this took me about like 10 to 15 minutes to get it, to roll it really well without any cracks. So just be patient and try to roll them so that they don't crack up, because we don't want these to break apart in the oil. So now I have my pot that's been heating for about 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna start frying these. So now that it's really hot, I'm gonna add some in there, and you don't want to overcrowd the pot too much. So I'm just gonna add about, let me see, okay, so I'll do 6 at a time. And you want to stir it for about every 2 to 3 minutes so that it gets a nice uniform color. We don't want one side to be really dark and one side to be light. So you want to stir this constantly, and we're gonna let this go for about 10 minutes until it reaches a nice golden brown color. We don't want it to be too dark brown. So just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna let these fry and I'll show you them in between. So it's been 5 minutes and it's already started to develop a color. I don't know if you could see the brown spot. So that's why you want to keep stirring it, because you don't want one spot to get the color and then the others to stay one color. So just keep stirring it, and after 10 minutes I'll show you how it looks. So now it's been 10 minutes and look at this beautiful color. This is the color I love. I don't like when it gets over too dark. To me, I just don't like it that way. I mean, that's just my preference. So that's why I cook this on really low heat, so that it doesn't get too brown really quickly. So I'm just going to take these out and put them onto a plate with some paper towels and just let them drain. And I'm going to fry the rest, and I'll come back when it's time to make the sugar syrup. So now that my gulab jamuns are finished frying, I left them to drain for about 5 minutes, and now I'm going to start with the syrup. So I have my pan on medium to high heat, and I'm just going to add in the cup of water. I'm also going to add the sugar in there. And the ginger. And some of the cardamom or elaichi powder. You can add as much or as little as you like. So you want the sugar to melt and to reach to like a nice thick syrupy stage, and that's gonna take about 8 to 10 minutes. So I'll show you guys how it looks along the way. So I've mixed the sugar with it, and see how it's crystallized all over the gulab jamun. I think it's good now. It's still a bit wet, but I'm just going to leave it to dry like this. So just leave it there to dry out, and I'll show you how they look after. So as you can see, they're nicely dried now, and they look so amazing. Do you see how nice they look with the sugar when it's not too dark brown? It looks really beautiful. So if you guys like this video, then give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel if you want to see all the latest videos. And I hope you guys enjoy this one. Leave me a comment, let me know how this came out. I would love to hear from you. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys in my next video with some more Diwali sweets.